And now for our feature presentation.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. Watson, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow. He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
Citadel baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers.
Get the ball to Bennett. He does.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
All right, greetings and happy opening day of college baseball season. Good afternoon and welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online, and very proudly presented by Motley Rice. Causes not just cases, motleyrice.com, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. Find them at stokesvw.com. Make sure you've downloaded the JB and Goldwater app. It's free. It's in the App Store, Google Play, and Apple. Download it. You've got it. You take us anywhere you want to take us. Watch, listen, comment, whatever you so choose to do. Much more is on the way as well, but it is very easily accessible. We hope that you will use that to your advantage. You can always head to jbandgoldwatershow.com as well for more information. Follow us on social media at JB and Goldwater, and individually at Sports Media JB and at Darren Goldwater. The Share Healthcare chat lines are open, and you are welcome to be a part of our program by commenting in there. And we'll put your comments on the air as we do every day around here. Look, it's opening day. I've been fired up all morning. Cannot wait to follow college baseball all the way into June when it'll wrap up in the middle of America in Omaha, Nebraska. Fired up for our in-state teams. Really excited to have Blake Cooper, Drew Meyer, Grayson Greiner, and Matt Campbell all with us today. All of those guys at some point in time in their careers have been All-Americans. Drew Meyer, big leaguer. Grayson Greiner, big leaguer. And Matt Campbell and Blake Cooper almost cracked the big leagues, but these are all four of the best players to ever play at South Carolina. It's not just about the Gamecocks. These are just guys that I know that can talk about opening day. And so we're going to celebrate opening day. We all obviously have a lot of basketball to get to. We will get into our 2-minute drill in just a little bit to kick off the weekend. But Darren, I'm going to brag a little bit on you and myself. I don't know what more we can do for our audience than what we've done the last couple of weeks. I mean, we've had every baseball coach. We've had Shane Beamer. We've got the best media guys in our state, the best former players. That has nothing to do with me or you. I mean, what else do you want when it comes to, day-to-day sports stuff? I mean, these guys are the best. We've had so much fun the last couple of weeks, and we always have fun. But I want to brag because they've all been kind enough to join us and be a part of our program, and it's made it extra special.
The opening day for college baseball, now that you and I have been friends for a couple of years, I like college baseball. I do. I love it, right? I've been around the game for the last 20 years. But being around you and then some of the guys that we talk to on college baseball opening day, I mean, it's like, I don't know, Christmas or better. It might, I mean, the way you talk, it makes it sound, and you get all jacked for Christmas too. So the way you talk and the enthusiasm and the thing that you put together that we'll get to at some point, I mean, I'm telling you, like it feels like it's Christmas to you and to a lot of, I like it. I do. I love it, but it's another level on the other side, man. So enjoy it. And away we go.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's, and we do have a very special about 3-minute presentation coming up in just a little bit. And the only thing I'll hint about that is, what do you consider in your life to be as valuable as 2/1000ths of a percentage point? So we'll get to that here coming up in just a little while. What we will get to right now, though, is the 2-minute drill to lead off our Friday afternoon, as we're all set to crank up the college baseball season. We hope you'll get out and catch a game. There are a lot of games to get out and catch. In the state of South Carolina, Greensboro is in Columbia to take on the Gamecocks starting this afternoon in a 3-game set. Indiana is at Clemson, Wagner at the College of Charleston, Fairleigh Dickinson at the Citadel. Charleston Southern's on the road. They're at Swayze and Oxford to take on Ole Miss. Wow, what a series opening weekend for them. Coastal Carolina will host their annual Baseball at the Beach tournament to crank it up. Central Michigan, West Virginia, Kent State will all be joining the Shots in Conway. PC is at North Florida, Ohio at USC Upstate, Eastern Michigan at Winthrop, George Mason at Wofford. That's your D1 in-state schedule. And don't forget, a couple of big-time national programs playing in opening series. 7th-ranked Oklahoma State at 3rd-ranked Vandy. 24th-ranked Long Beach State is at the defending national champions, Mississippi State. They're ranked 4th to crank it up here early in the year. In golf, Joaquin Niemann right now is at 12 under. He is 5 shots ahead at Riviera out in California. 5 shots up on the rest of the leaderboard. Spieth, he is at 5 under. But right now, Niemann is rolling right along. It's a big weekend in hoops. As you know, LSU is at Carolina for a Legends weekend. Clemson is at Louisville. Charleston Southern hosts USC Upstate. Troy at Coastal. Towson at the College of Charleston. East Tennessee State is at the Citadel. And the women, they're sold out on Sunday at the CLA. Tennessee at South Carolina. College game day will crank it up at noon. That game will tip at 1 on ABC. And if you haven't heard, the college football playoff will maintain a 4-team playoff through the end of this deal. So nothing new before 2026. That is from Executive Director Bill Hancock just a little while ago. And that, my friends, is your 2-minute drill to crank up our Friday, again, the opening weekend of college baseball season. Blake Cooper will be up first in just a few minutes at 12:10. He is currently the pitching coach for the Citadel Bulldogs. As we mentioned, they have Fairleigh Dickinson in town, but he is a former Gamecock. He's got a national championship ring to prove it, in case any of you don't believe me. Drew Meyer's ahead at 12:25. Drew almost has a national as a player, almost has a national championship ring, almost had one as a coach in 2012 as well. Drew, one of the best shortstops we've ever seen. Grayson Greiner will lead us off at 1 o'clock, and then Soup, Matt Campbell's Soup, if you get it, around 1:20 this afternoon. We've got some Olympics to mix in as well, Darren. But I will say this, as it pertains to this college football ordeal, and I read the statement of Bill Hancock. Not going to read the entire statement now. You can find it anywhere you look. But I would say it just seems to me like somebody has stepped in and said, I think we want to send this thing to the open market. And let's see what we can get in a TV deal. It's less about 4, 8, 12, whatever it's going to be. It's going to be more about how can we make the most money on TV. That's just what it appears to me.
That's been the underlying theme from the very, 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 very beginning when this first was bantered about. Hey, maybe it's going to go to 12, but if it does, then this thing has to be in the open market. I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes. I don't know if it's not even remotely possible to make that happen before 26, which was, we all assumed, at least possible, right? I mean, money talks. You can figure out ways to maneuver contracts and make all of that work. Maybe not, but that's always been a major part of this. And to be honest, this day, yesterday, and what's Friday, and Wednesday before it, just getting to the start of the show for me has been like a million miles an hour. I didn't even see that news until you just said. I mean, anything could have happened in the world outside of like this show and some of the other things I'm working on. I have no idea what's happened out there, but getting to the open market for the playoff is always a big deal. And I don't know if the door is completely and totally shut, We'll see if we actually make it to 26.
Yeah, it looks pretty shut, according to the playoff guys. It looks like this thing is case closed now, Darren, based on that statement from Bill Hancock. They are not moving forward. If anything changes, which it can always change, as we know, maybe, but probably not. Probably not. Well, let's just leave it there for sure. All right, again, the Share Healthcare chat lines are open. Adam says that's a mistake for the other conferences. It's going to continue to be dominated by the SEC, and we're just going to hear the whining for the next 4 to 5 years. Well, the league certainly hopes that. They hope to continue plugging guys or teams in and year out and dominating. But, if more than likely they're going to have a team probably in every college football playoff, and that'll 4, 8, 12, whatever it ends up being. That's just kind of what it's going to be for the SEC. It is also, again, tomorrow, as you know, Legends Weekend at Colonial Life Arena with LSU coming to town. Looks like some tickets are starting to move in the upper deck as well. So that's good. People are excited about honoring the 97 team, which I grew up watching, and that's awesome. And the 71 team. Let's also remember, if you're a Carolina basketball fan, that G.G. Jackson will be in the house tomorrow. He's the number 1 player in the country, and he is highly considering South Carolina right now for his college destination. He's going to be in on an official visit. And I know Frank Martin is hoping that the cockpit and others will follow in line and welcome G.G. Jackson in a big way, because they sure could use him somewhere down the road. But in addition to the good news that first pitches will be thrown all across the country starting in the next couple of hours for the first time, and as long as I can remember, even with some of the drizzle out there now, Darren, later on this afternoon, you'll be looking at things like 65 degrees in Columbia and mostly sunny, 61 degrees in the upstate, sunny, and right here in Charleston, 70 degrees for first pitch between the Citadel Bulldogs and Fairleigh Dickinson, and partly cloudy. And this guy will be, I think, calling pitches for the Citadel today. He's a former right-handed All-American and national champion for the Gamecocks, and we're honored to have him. It's Blake Cooper. Happy opening day, brother. What's up?
How we doing, JB?
We're ready to rock and roll, man. I mentioned to Derek Scott yesterday if I could trade places with anybody, it'd be him, because he gets to call hoops and baseball all weekend in the booth. But I'd probably like to be you too, just out there coaching, hanging out with the guys. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's great. I'm actually out walking around the outfield right now, just getting ready for the game, and get some guys on the mound here shortly to get their work in for the weekend. So we're excited about it. A lot of optimism around our program, so we're ready to get started.
What are the field conditions like? I know we had some rain come through this morning. What's it look like?
Well, for me, the wind's blowing here today, but it's actually blowing in, so that's a good thing for us from a pitching standpoint. But we put the tarp on last night. Ground screw's out there right now, so we're ready to go. Field looks great, and the outfield is dry, so we should be on time here.
Going to be on time. All right, Blake. So you've been doing this a little while now. You're a pitching coach, not just a pitcher, and you're entering. Gosh, what is this? Is this your 5th year as the pitching coach at the Citadel?
Yeah, I believe so.
Where has time gone? All right. How do you feel about your guys? How do you feel about yourself as a pitching coach as you've grown in the profession?
Yeah, obviously it's a little bit different. As a pitching coach, you're trying to learn 18, 20 guys instead of just yourself. So it's definitely a different animal in itself. But man, we're excited about our pitchers this year. We've had a really good class last year, and a lot of our young guys are going to get in the game this year. So we feel really good about our guys. Reeves will start on Friday. We'll have a freshman from Georgia start on Saturday, and then a backup catcher a year ago actually is going to start on Sunday. So, we got a bunch of guys that we can go to this year, probably as deep as we've been since we've been here. And, the one thing about our staff this year is we got a lot of stuff on our staff. So, it's a staff that you come in, can land breaking balls. We've all got change-ups, and, we can run the ball up in the mid to upper 80s. So, we feel really good. We're confident. Our guys are playing well. We had a good spring, good preparation. The guys are ready to go.
Blake, you've started on opening day before. What type of emotions run through you as you're gearing up to throw the first pitch of the season?
Yeah, it's definitely a special time because it's something that you work for all the way from the fall, actually in the summer when your season ends and you kind of gear back up going through the fall into the spring. But there's nothing like it. You really don't get those feelings until opening day. So, that's kind of where we're at right now, but it's an emotion that you got to learn to handle. And for me, it was always, a lot of anticipation and, obviously you're going to be nervous, but as soon as the first pitch is thrown, all those things kind of go away, and you just kind of, rely on the preparation you put in. So, like I said, I think, as long as we've been here, it's probably the most prepared we've been, and the guys are ready to go.
Blake Cooper, former All-American. He's a national champion. He'll always be a national champion at South Carolina. 2'7", 27 for those who don't know baseball lingo. Blake, I did some calculations this morning. I sent some of that to you by way of audio, which we'll play for our audience in just a little while. But, maybe only a couple of times in your life, like 2 days, will you ever be an opening day starting pitcher in college baseball, or maybe ever. Mm-hmm. How do you put that in perspective? Like when you try to talk to your guys, and I mean, not even just a pitcher, just anybody. I mean, your shortstop, anybody that's going to run out there for the first time and say, hey, look, you're only going to get a chance to do this so many times in your life. And then it's over. Then you're going to be selling insurance or selling houses or working at the local, dairy or whatever it is. How do you put that into perspective to guys now, knowing what you did as a player? You had to grow through that as well.
Well, I think, just looking back at our teams and the runs we went on, honestly, Coach Tanner did a really good job of kind of, keeping us in the moment and helping us understand that it's about the process and all those things. So honestly, you don't realize those things, and you don't realize all the things that you did to get to where you were, because you were so encapsulated in what you were doing at that time. So for these guys, that's kind of what we've kind of harped on is, staying in the process and trusting your preparation, all those things. And, you try not to make the moment so big to try to help keep pressure off. But, for us, man, I think that, the biggest thing is, like I said, just be ourselves and do what we can do best. And, on the moment, run towards the roar and, do the simple things better. And that's kind of what we've done here in the last, 6 months in our preparation. And, it's really paid dividends, and, hopefully we can transfer that to the game.
Who are some of the biggest influencers in your coaching career?
Well, honestly, you asked me that, and the first person I called was, Coach Calvey, whenever I started to get into coaching, because he was the guy that pushed me as a player, and I knew he'd be honest with me as a coach. So, he was the first guy that I called, and, it was, be yourself. You really didn't know if it was, hey, you need to go into an interview prepared, or you need to have a bunch of paperwork with you, or whatever it is. He was like, man, just be yourself. Tell them what you know, and just, pretty much your own instinct. So, he was pretty much my first influencer. And then when I started looking into, how we run our throwing programs and our bullpens and all those things, I leaned on Coach Drew Meyer, which is another guy that, I really loved being around at my time at South Carolina when I was a student assistant. So, he really helped me kind of learn the blueprint of, what a pitching coach does on a day-to-day basis, and, how you train those guys to be successful. So those two guys are definitely two of my guys that I lean on, and then obviously Coach Tanner. So, Coach Tanner's obviously been an influence on me as a player, but also after my playing days into my coaching career. So if I want some truthful advice, I'll definitely call Coach Tanner, because he'll tell me just how it is.
Yeah, that's for sure. He won't mince words at all. When you were playing for the Gamecocks, Coop, did you ever have a moment as a player where, whether it was Coach Tanner or Coach Calvey, where it was tense, it was tight, they were riding your pine for whatever reason? Do you remember anything like that?
Well, I think that's one thing Coach Tanner and Coach Calvey are really good at, is knowing their players. Some guys you had to pat on the back, and some guys you had to really lay in to get them to go. So I was one of those guys that could handle it. And there was numerous Coach Tanner would come to the mound and pretty much give me words of encouragement, pat me on the rear end, and tell me to go get them, if you kind of know what I'm saying there. So
yeah.
He was a guy that was the biggest thing with that staff, is, man, they really invested their time in understanding the players and what made them go. So, you know, it always looks like it's sunshine and rainbows, but through that process, it really, you know, you really learn things individually, and you really, you know, it really develops you as a player and a person. So, Coach Tanner, man, he was really hard on me at times, but looking back, it was the best thing for me.
When Coach Tanner would walk out to the mound, and then when Coach Calvey would walk out to the mound, like, how do you describe the difference in the conversations?
Well, if Coach Tanner was on the way out, I knew it wasn't good. So, you know, it was either I'm coming out of the game or he's getting ready to give me some words of encouragement. So, you know, Coach Calvey for me was more strategy and what we're going to do to the next hitter and how we're going to move forward. And Coach Tanner was pretty much, hey, let's get it in gear and go. So, you know, it was definitely a different sense of urgency when those two guys came out.
So what are you? What type are you?
I think it depends on the player. You know, it definitely depends on the player, and you got to know the personality of the player. So, and I think that's something that you try to learn throughout the course of their career. You know, some guys, they need a pat on the back and they need confidence build, and some guys really need to be pushed. So it just depends. And also it depends on the situation, you know, what we're trying to do. And it could be just a deal where you're going out and talk about strategy and calm a guy down. So it just depends. And that's where we really, you know, really try to learn guys and try to build relationships, you know, during and that's one reason why we like our locker room next to our offices. You know, so guys can come by and we can chat, not just about baseball, but just, you know, about other things in life and kind of getting to know the player.
All right, Blake, we'll let you go here just in the next couple of minutes. What's it like coaching with Tony Skoll?
It's great. You know, one thing we talked about this morning, man, it was about winning, and that's what we want to do. Every day we come in, you know, that's the one thing on our mind. We want to win. You know, we want to practice hard. We want to let the players play on game day. So that's the biggest thing is, you know, we really like to practice hard, push guys and do those things and try to prepare them as well as we can. But we also, when it's game day, just let them play and be free. So, you know, as a player, that's what you want. You want to be able to just play free and play loose and play confident. And, you know, like I said, that's the main thing is, man, it's about winning. We want to bring tradition back to the Citadel, and we want to try to do it as fast as we can.
Before I get this last question here, I do want to squeeze this in, but just because it's one of our regulars who's always in our audience. He comments every day. I know who he is, and you won't know who he is personally, but you'll know who he's related to when I mention his name. His name is Craig Godwin, and he sent a message saying, "Did Blake pitch with Nick? Nick Godwin, who you and I call Gotti, is his cousin." Yep. How would you describe Gotti, Blake?
So as a baseball player, he actually played with him my freshman year with the Blowfish in Columbia. So, you know, Gotti was I felt like Gotti was 30 years old when we were in college. So he was like, you know, he was like my dad, but he's a year older than me, if that makes sense.
That's right.
So, but yeah, as a baseball player, man, he was steady Eddie. You know, he would be upper 80s. He threw a ton of strikes with a good break him on a good changeup. And it was just, you knew exactly what to expect every time he went out. But man, I love Gotti. We hang out a lot. He was a big influence for me as a baseball player. Yeah. He did the right things all the time. And, you know, he's a guy that, you know, kind of helped me develop as a pitcher. So, yeah, man, God, I hadn't talked to him in a few years, but definitely the dad of the staff.
I'm trying to get him down here soon to play some golf, and then we'll come down and watch y'all play. Try to all go out to eat one night or something like that.
Yeah.
Gotti. I mean, yeah, he was my roommate, and he looks old as dirt, but he's fairly young. And I would describe Gotti as somebody who laughs a lot and also laughs when he's uncomfortable. That's just Gotti in a nutshell.
That is correct. That is correct.
All right. What's going to be the meal tonight after the game? Are you going to go home and fire up the griddle?
The griddle.
For sure. You know, maybe a little Japanese on the griddle.
Oh, yes, opening day Japanese. Have you tried my pork chop recipe that I sent you yet?
No, I have not.
Blake. All right. Hey, look, man. Best of luck to you and Tony and Zach and the Citadel Bulldogs today as Fairleigh Dickinson is in town and cranks up the year. It's going to be an incredible challenge because y'all got, in addition to the SoCon, an amazing non-conference schedule that features teams like South Carolina, Texas, the College of Charleston, and others. And I know you're looking forward to rolling your guys out there and seeing what they can do. But it's great to catch up with you, my friend. Give your family my best. I look forward to seeing you soon, and happy opening day.
All right, man. I appreciate being on.
Always. There you go. Blake Cooper, national champion and current pitching coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. Coming up in just a little bit, we will play something very special for opening day, and we certainly hope you'll stick around for that. In the 1 o'clock hour, Grayson Greiner and Matt Campbell will join us here as we continue to celebrate this wonderful day. But first and foremost, I mean, come on, everybody knows this guy. I mean, he looked like a big leaguer now with the background, the bats, the jersey, the frame. Those are probably two of the classic Gamecock framed pictures ever of Coach Tanner and the Sarge. And but above all that, it's Drew Meyer, All-American of the Gamecocks. What's up?
Yeah, man. What's going on, Jamie? I can thank my wife for all that hard work in the background. I said if I had to do it, it would be crooked and not centered and some stuff. She worked hard on it. So we just came across a bunch of old stuff, and she said, we got to display this. So here we are.
Looks good. He's really sharp.
What's Hudson think when he sees all this stuff, on all these things that represent what Dad did? Has he started to figure it out a little bit, like who Dad was?
Yes and no. He just kind of shrugs it off like, whatever, And a lot of this stuff, some of these items around the rest of my office, I've got some old Omaha posters and stuff from 2002 and just some different things. And he kind of laughs it off. But last week we did have a set of kids. There was a birthday party going on in the block, and I walked out, and one of them had one of my wooden bats out there in the garage. And I said, do you like baseball? And he said, dude, I love baseball. And I'm like, all right, come with me. So brought him in, showed him around a little bit, showed him some of my stuff, and had some baseball cards out. And so passed that on, and I think we take for granted just what a baseball card does for kids, and that's how I kind of grew to love the game as well. So that was a fun little moment, and I always look to do that for the kids.
Well, Drew, everybody's a kid this weekend. It's opening day. It's opening weekend of college baseball. Are you going to try to get out and catch a game or two?
Yeah, well, not up at Columbia. I've got I'm doing some TV games here this spring. I've got 11 different games throughout the spring, so I'll be wearing out I-26 along with the time I'll be spending coaching 9U Bombers baseball with Hudson.
All right.
And a good little crew, and we've got tournaments on the weekend, and so we've had to jumble some schedules and match it all together. But I told Hudson we will have plenty of days up at Founders Park. Let's get a weekend to get our feet under us. We just got done with basketball season. But I think we are going to go catch Citadel. They play at 11:30 on Sunday. Is that correct?
Oof. I'll double check for you.
So
yeah, I think that the visiting team must have to get out of town or something, flight coming home or something. But I said perfect. We'll go to 9 o'clock church, and then we'll shoot over down to the Joe and catch a game. That sounds like a pretty good day, and coming home in time to catch the finale for Carolina series. So should be a good little weekend.
What do you cherish about opening day, Drew? You were part of 3 of them at South Carolina, 2000 and 2002. Obviously, 8 or 9 of them in minor league baseball.
Yeah.
And then many before that. But what is at this level, the college baseball level? It's just different. It's different from the big leaguers. It's different from the pros, and it's certainly different from high school baseball and below it. What do you cherish or remember the most about college baseball's opening day when you put that uniform on?
Yeah, it's just a culmination of a long, off season of hard work. I loved practice time. To this day, I love getting out there. I take ground balls till my feet fell off. I love doing it. And so when opening day came, you're almost put at ease. There's nothing else you can work on, and now it's time to see what you got. And for me, I try to keep a confident and cocky attitude. It's time to show off. The fans are in the stands. You worked hard for this moment. Like, let's go. Let's make some great plays. Let's win some games, and let's have some fun. So coming in at opening day, some players, I never performed great on opening day, and it's one game out of 56. I never cared too much. You just hope you didn't embarrass yourself and get the hat trick or something stupid like that. But other than that, you just hope you can kind of grind through the day. Team get a win is obviously most important. You don't want to start off with an L. That's never a good atmosphere for the team. But try to get that team win and have some fun. Try to do something to help the team, and then you're kind of off and running, and you're into the season. So really, once the first couple innings take place, you really you're right back into season mode. I mean, the nerves and stuff don't last long. It's either your first at bat or that first inning in the field on defense, and then you're right back to doing something you've been doing every day for a long time. And it turns into who can put the quality at bats together, who can make the pitch, and who can make a play.
Drew Meyer, one of the best shortstops, maybe the best shortstop ever to come out of this state. He's a Hall of Famer in pretty much every Hall of Fame that exists in the Palmetto State. I'm not going to run down the list, Drew. I don't have enough time. But I saw you tweet something just a little while ago. I think I retweeted it because it was very interesting, and I wanted to get into your mind a little bit on that. And it is specific to South Carolina and who they're going to start at shortstop today. Michael Braswell, young man. He is a freshman, and we talked to King earlier this week. I know you've talked to Mark. He likes this cat. This dude's got a chance to be pretty good. He wears number 7. I think you wore number 7. If anybody looks above your head there. And you were a freshman who started, and everybody knew you were going to start. Everybody knew Reese Havens was going to start. Yep. You were big names coming in, and there is some oomph, some pressure behind that. So what is he going through, and what advice would you give him as a freshman out there in a critical role for one of the top programs in the country?
Yeah, obviously it's you can say relax, but that's close to impossible. You're going to get excited. You're going to have nerves. I would try to scrap out a hit in the first game. My freshman year did not start off so good. I think I was 0 for 15 and had to wait we had a home series, I think, against Charleston Southern. And then the next weekend we came back down here to Charleston to play at the Joe in a little tournament. And I went 0 for the first weekend and probably booted some balls as well. We won the games, and so that felt good, but I can tell you it did not feel good going home and with all the eyeballs on replacing Brian Roberts and Adam Everett before that, and coming in with the attention I did. It was tough. In fact, I went back and looked at the scorebook just to see. I remember I hit 9th during that whole time, and I said I always hated hitting 9th. And Coach Tanner put me in the 2 spot, and I got my first hit. It was a home run down here. And I think I hit in the 2-hole the rest of the season. So what a move by Coach Tanner. After me going over, he said, let's mix it up and put him in the 2-hole, and we never looked back. And so my advice would be try to scrap out a hit that first game, lay down a bunt, slap one the other way, do something that you can hang your hat on, but hopefully you can get that first hit out of the way a little quicker than I did.
Well, I remember the home run. That's the one that hit about halfway up the light pole and bounced back into the outfield, right? It's probably the hardest ball I've ever seen.
Yeah, I kind of got a hold of that one. There's a lot of frustration built up into that one. 0 for 15, that's rough.
Well, I remember when you hit it, and everybody knew it was gone. But it was one that was still, I think it was, Drew, correct me here, just about to start the downturn when it hit the pole. I mean, it was going a long ways.
Yeah, I got all of it. A little Charleston love. I got all of it.
You got all of it. So, just out of curiosity here, I mean, I've coached baseball. You've coached baseball at Carolina. I mean, you've coached at a high level. You understand it. What was Coach Tanner thinking? Like, hey, this cat, he can't hit in the 9-hole, but screw it, let's put him in the 2-hole. Like, right. What? Obviously, he had a lot of magic in his arsenal. I mean, he's got a whole resume of that. So, but why? What was that move? Why did he make that move?
I think, he knew he needed to get me going. He didn't doubt my talent or my ability. That wasn't ever the question. It's sometimes with a freshman, if they get buried so far, can they ever come out? So I think maybe his mentality was we were playing down here in Charleston. I love playing in front of fans and crowds and making great plays. It helped motivate me. It's one thing I think that didn't help me in the minors was there was less of that passion at the games for the actual teams and wins. But I think he said, I'm going to challenge him and I'm going to put him in the 2-hole down here in Charleston and let's see what he can do. So he knew he had to do something. He knew, I was going to get an opportunity to start at shortstop, but at some point, if I continued to struggle, he's got to do what's best for the team. And everybody understands that. And that's kind of why that pressure builds. Nobody's spot is ever cemented in. If Andrew Eister goes 0 for 40, I don't think you're going to see him out there as much. And, I don't think that's going to happen, right? But the reality is, we both know it. If you're not performing, some guys get longer leashes, guys who have earned it. Yeah. But if you're not performing, we got to win some ball games. There's 56 of them. We got to win as many as we can. And feelings aside, this is a team unit. So I think he saw in me that we got to mix it up, and luckily it worked out for me.
Drew Meyer, former Gamecock. Well, he'll always be a Gamecock. 12:35 here on this Friday afternoon of opening day. So kind of a generalized question here, Drew, and it's not just strictly for the Gamecocks or Clemson or anybody. It's just I feel like something that people who watch and love the sport but maybe don't understand it, maybe this could help a little bit. When is a good time to start really trying to determine what type of team you're going to have? Like, for instance, I think we all should probably understand that early in the season, there's going to be like for Mark Kingston, he's going to have to pull a lot of different strings. He's going to move some guys around. He's trying to find some roles. So at what point do you start to kind of zero in on, hey, look, they've had enough time. We need to start figuring out who this team is, like from a fan's perspective, watching the game.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see some different guys run out there this weekend. Somebody could go 4 for 4, and I don't think he'd set a guy going 4 for 4, but he's going to try to get as many guys in as he can this weekend. And it's not necessarily announcing starters, it's to get everybody's feet wet, because you're going to need a lot of different guys throughout this year. We know that guys are going to go through struggles. There's going to be injuries. Things happen, and so you got to have a loaded bench. So, I think from looking at these guys' stats from where they came from, really is talking about Brant Belk in left and Madden in third, and what's the Hogan out in center, I think, is starting. Yeah. Those guys bring a lot of veteran at bats to the program. Now, with the returning starters, I did some quick math. I like to do the quick math.
Well, here
you're going to see a common theme here.
You need a whiteboard.
I do need a whiteboard. I told Christy that. I love whiteboards. I got the page I can show you. All right. Y'all just relax. So this is how I think through things. Right?
I've always got pads with me.
Right. So offensively, they're returning 42% of their at-bats, 40% of their doubles, and 41% of their homers. Pitching-wise, 44% of their wins, 37% of their games started, 39% of their innings, and 38% of the strikeouts. So, obvious thing is they're returning about 40% of their team, right? So where are you going to have to make up that 60? And it's really 60 plus more. You want more production than you had last year, right? We want to keep getting better and better and further off in the playoffs. So you got to look to guys like Madden and Belk and Hogan and center to bring this extra spark. Then you got to get guys like Braswell going and have a good solid year. Wimmer, obviously the guys that have been here to do their part and produce, and hopefully those guys can join the middle to the high of the pack, and it just makes this lineup that much harder to get through.
I know I texted you earlier, for Carolina baseball fans, take some hopefully this continues, but take some solace in this. Belk and Madden come in with a combined career over 300 average. They also last year combined for about 370 at bats. Belk at Missouri, Madden at Virginia Tech. Only struck out 48 times. That's about 12% of their at bats. That's less than or more than half less than what South Carolina did as a team last year. So that's substantial, and they're going to need that.
Just to give you a reference, I struck out 57 times myself in 2002.
Well, you also hit about 390. So.
Yeah, but I struck. But so that's good, though. I know Coach Kingston has stressed a lot about keeping the strikeouts down, and I believe that. You put pressure on defense, it's tough. Yeah. So we're going to see if they can bring those veteran at bats. Not only can they bring it to this team and this league, but can it spread from player to player? When you see some older guys, Eister, and they grind out an at bat and they flick a single, it's like, golly, I would have rolled over that at bat on the third pitch and been done, but he just kept fighting, and then stuck his bat out there and gets a single. So hopefully those quality at bats that these younger players like Braswell will get to see will be contagious, and then they can start to develop their own game and their own style.
We're going to get you out of here in just a second. Two quick ones, Drew. Where's the game? I mean, we've heard you mentioned Mark, but other coaches out there I think are starting to try to shift what has been a large shift in the game of power and things like that. They're trying to maybe turn it backwards the other way a little bit, trying to get more speed back into the game, make sure you're solid defensively. You are one of those guys, you could slap one into the outfield somewhere and turn it into a double or a triple real quick just by virtue of swiping bags. So in your mind, I mean, we watch the big leaguers. We know what they get paid to do. You can hit 230, but if you hit 30 home runs, you're going to get paid. Right. And that's why they do it. So where's the college game right now? Where do you think it is and where do you think it's headed?
I go back to we're playing to win. I mean, whatever we got to do to win ball games. And sometimes the wind will be blowing out and we might hit some homers. Sometimes the wind's going to blow in and we're facing a tough pitcher and we got to grind out some singles, a hit and run, a bunt. And I think that's, as a coach, you got to know every capability of your team and put them in situations where they can succeed. Coach Tanner was notorious for mixing up the lineups. I was talking to Brian Jeffcoat yesterday, and for some of the guys, there's a few at the top that you were a staple, and after that, man, it was you didn't know. And part of that's a good thing. You got to show up to the field every day ready to play. You don't know if your name's going to get called. So I think it's a coach got to know his players. He's got to know what the strengths are of the other team. And play his odds. And I'm not necessarily saying left-right matchups. It's this kid always seems to come through in big situations, and I got to challenge him. I've got to test him early. Is he going to be a guy we can bring off the bench? Or, some guys just don't like coming off the bench to hit. I didn't get a chance to do it a lot in my career, but I can't imagine I'd like it. I mean, I was a leadoff hitter, and I like to swing at every first pitch of the game. I like to get going. So you've got to learn that about your team and who does what well, and then try to take advantage of that against your competition.
Final one for you here, Drew. It's a great honor for me to know the great baseball people in the state like yourself. And one of the things that you and Darren and I and others share is we know all of them, every one of them. Chad Holbrook and Tony Skoll and Mark Kingston and Monty Lee and all these assistants, Gary Gilmore. I mean, you name them. We know them. We've crossed paths somewhere, know a lot of those guys. I just mentioned very personally. What would you say about baseball in this state and the hands that it's in, all of these coaches? You don't have to be a Clemson fan or a Carolina fan or anybody to enjoy having this conversation. This is about the people that are at the top of the sport right here in our borders.
Yeah, I would say just the passion of the fans and the desire to win from these coaches is real. It's not fake. It's not orchestrated. These coaches live and breathe doing everything they can to make their program better and each kid that they come across better, whether that's on or off the field. It is a large responsibility for these head coaches that people I don't think understand. They've got to worry about their nightlife. They got to worry about their grades. They got to worry about their social media. They got to worry about a whole bunch of things until they actually step on the field and then have to perform under the pressure. So, and these coaches take it personally. They don't just leave this at the baseball office and go home and have a merry life with their families. They go to bed thinking about this stuff and wake up trying to come up with ways to make each player better and to help the program. So the passion of the fans helps drive that. The coaches know they're going to be held accountable. We take baseball seriously here in South Carolina, and obviously they do too. But that helps the players get motivated each practice day when they know that there's going to be fans in the stands that care. And when you win in front of fans that care, it's a fun time. And sometimes when you lose in front of fans that care, it can be rough. But that's the risk reward. And I think every athlete would sign up for that every day of the week. I want to play in front of people and give it my best. At the end of the day, I can say, hey, we did all we could. Don't leave anything on the table.
That's kind of like the conversation we had last week, Darren, with Monty. We mentioned to Monty, hey, look, if you ever are unsure of what you should do, just pull the audience. They'll tell you exactly what you should do. If it doesn't work, it's on them. If it does work, guess what? They're gonna do what they would have done anyways. Pat themselves on the back.
But he followed that. He followed that up with he loves those guys because that's who comes to the park, right? I mean, that's the passion that's out there.
I love
it. That's 100% agree.
Yeah, Monty is special. Drew, do me a favor. You have the power to do this. I keep throwing this up the ladder at South Carolina. And I don't know if it's not getting to Coach Tanner's desk or if Coach Tanner's just ignoring it. But if it comes from you, he won't ignore it. that picture behind you of Sarge Fry Field.
Yeah.
We need to build a replica of that somewhere at Founders Park. There's enough room to do it. We got to do it so people can see what used to, like. Drew Meyer played in Sarge Fry Field. There's a lot of guys, Justin Smoke and Kip and everybody. I mean, the history's there. We got to find a way to build a replica. So do we need to raise money? Who do we need to, what do we need to do here? Let's do it.
I don't know. I'm going to put you in charge of that one. I already asked for enough favors out of Coach Tanner at the university.
No, you're in charge. I'll push it. You're in charge of it, though. You gotta get.
I'll see what I like it. I like the idea. It's worth it. It's worth the conversation and find out what needs to happen now.
We'll just have to, Coach Tanner's right there. If anybody should want it, it's him. Drew, happy opening day. I know of all the things you've done in your life, you're most proud of being a dad, and I'm sure this weekend's going to be a blast to get Hudson out there to the ballpark. And look forward to seeing you soon. Let's we've been saying this for a year. Let's actually try to tee up the golf ball and play soon.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually heading to Ireland Zone to get a little golf simulator in.
Is that why you're going there?
Yeah, well, yeah, a little lunch, get the swing in. So my golf game's going to suffer this spring season for sure with our baseball, but that's the way it should be. But no, we're going to go a little happy hour before the 4:00 game and cook some hot dogs and hamburgers and enjoy it on the patio.
Anybody that needs insurance, Meyer Insurance Group, but don't call them until Monday. Today is opening day.
Our phone lines are down. We're actually going to be shut down until the end of the weekend. So Monday morning, I'll be here bright and early. Thank
you so much. I know we kept you a few minutes longer, but it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'll see you real soon.
All right. Thanks, Gene. Thanks, Gene.
You got it. Drew Meyer, All-American at South Carolina. We will continue opening day coverage coming up in hour 2. With both Grayson Greiner and Matt Campbell. Do have some hoops to get to. We're going to take a time out. When we return, something you really want to hear, a celebration of college baseball right here on the JB and Goldwater Show.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right, we take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity financed a new loan, subject to lender approval.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work. And 2 others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
You hear me talk about Dog and Duck all the time, and there's no other place I'm going to watch my college and NFL than the Dog and Duck. They have 3 locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. They have specials all football season long, like $12 pitchers of their own D2 brew, $5 pints of Sierra Nevada, weekly pick'em sheets with prizes, and the best wings in town, bar none. For all your football, college, and NFL, the Dog and Duck, Clements Ferry Road, Bell Hall, and Park West.
Motley Rice LLC is a law firm with international reach, but it hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for people harmed by products including asbestos and talc exposure. medical drugs and devices, and also catastrophic injuries and auto recalls, including dangerous Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. Visit motleyrice.com. Thank you, Motley Rice, for supporting the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show. 1 divided by 365 is 0.0002 or 2/1000 of a percent. That is how often opening day of college baseball happens in our lifetime. Just once a year. 10 times every decade, or 3,650 days. Or 100 times every century, or every 36,500 days. 0.0002%. 2/1000 of a percentage. That's it. So why is opening day so special? What is it? It starts a journey. And that journey represents life. And at the end of that journey, you have a resume. And that resume will tell you all you need to know. Baseball is life. It's hard. It's honest. It's rewarding. It's deflating. It represents failure. Represents success. It represents reality. Most of us fail before we can succeed. Isn't that baseball? You learn to overcome failure. You learn to cherish success. You learn about life. And in that life, you will watch baseball with someone who has already learned what you're learning. And in that moment, you will realize that life has a lot of opening days. And cherishing the moments in your life, like the 1,000th of a percentage that we call opening day. Well, that's living. Thank you, baseball. Happy opening day, baseball.
Fastball hit high in the air. Deep to left field. The pitch, there's a drive. It's deep to left. Way back, and this one is gone. Now Warren Morris. It's a contact down the right field line. Line drive right field. Base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. He's out. What a way to end it. And what a way to end the drought. Mississippi State, the national champions, destroying Vanderbilt 9-0.
Yeah, I don't know what else can get you going if that can't. Wow. College baseball is back, and major props to Chris Lemonis and Scott Foxall. The ending of what you just heard there, they were in charge of the run for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. They are the defending national champions here in 2022. Scott, of course, of the College of Charleston, and Chris Lemonis of the Citadel. And they will kick things off today with an outstanding series. 24th ranked Long Beach State will be in Starkville to take on the 4th-ranked Bulldogs, Darren. So, it's our celebration. Obviously, there's major hoops to get to this weekend. It's going to be another incredible weekend of college basketball, but it was a pleasure to speak with both Drew and Blake earlier and how they kind of remember opening day. And Blake's coaching now. Drew has coached. You move on. You always remember it. Matt Campbell and Grayson Greiner will tell us more coming up here in the next hour as well. So
feels like the juices are still flowing through Drew, right? Blake is obviously going out there as a coach, so he's got those emotions going on as he walks the field and kind of has the thoughts going through his mind about what's going to happen today and for the year for the Citadel. Drew's not wearing the uniform anymore, but you could hear in his voice. I mean, just when it started, like he said he could still go out there today and take ground balls till his feet fall off. I can't do something like that, but I mean, that's still in him, and the passion for the game and for the Gamecocks and breaking down very intricate things about, I'm sure he's done it for more than just the Gamecocks as well. if he's doing some TV games. But you can tell those juices are flowing for him today.
There's no question. There is no question about that. Only a couple of minutes left here in our number one. Joaquin Neiman continues to lead out at the Riviera in California. He's at 13 under now, so that will be something fun to watch throughout the weekend. In college basketball, it's another loaded weekend of college basketball. I know Darren is all fired up for this as well. In addition to what we have going on in state, clearly LSU coming to Columbia this weekend is enormous for the Gamecocks for a multitude of reasons. Clemson has continued to slip, and they're going to have to go to Louisville, and they got a very tough challenge up there. But when you look at it tomorrow in the Big Ten, 12th ranked Illinois at noon on ESPN is at 19th ranked Michigan State. That is certainly going to be a fun one. Xavier at noon on Fox is at 24th ranked UConn. Keep an eye on that one. Texas Tech at Texas. Yeah, the whole Chris Beard thing. 11th ranked Texas Tech at 20th ranked Texas at 12:30 on ABC. Going to be a lot of fireworks in that basketball game. Alabama is going to try to keep this sucker rolling down the tracks here as the end of the season nears. They're at 4th ranked Kentucky on CBS from Rupp at 1 o'clock tomorrow. A top 25 matchup. 25th ranked Alabama, 4th ranked Kentucky. Darren, is 2nd ranked Auburn on upset alert at 2 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN in the Swamp?
They should not be on upset alert down there in the Swamp. Alabama, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes going to Kentucky after the loss to Tennessee. I don't know the health of Ty Washington. That's obviously a big thing there for Kentucky, but I wouldn't want to be Alabama in this spot. They don't play particularly well on the road either. It's another great weekend. Clemson is going to be favored up at Louisville tomorrow. They should be. Louisville is an absolute dumpster fire since Chris Mack, and I have a lot of stuff on both of them. We'll get into some of it for post-up careers resume. That would be for the baseball thing, and then Jeff McCarriger's buy or sell. I just threw a couple numbers together with Clemson at 1.5. That's my guess is what that'll be. I think LSU will be in the 6.5 range as a favorite over South Carolina. That would be, again, my guess. Those lines aren't going to come out until later on tonight, but it's a really hard matchup for South Carolina. Clemson should fare better than South Carolina tomorrow.
Yeah, as Derek Scott mentioned yesterday, free throws and turnovers will be a big thing this weekend for the Gamecocks. They're more than likely going to get to the line a lot. They're going to need to hit when they get there, and that full court pressure that LSU generally employs, they're going to need to make sure that they don't turn it over as well. So Devin Carter's been playing much better at the point. That is great on both of those accounts because he gets to the foul line so much. And if he can hit them, that's wonderful news. And if he doesn't turn it over, it's even better for the Gamecocks trying to make tomorrow very special. Colonial Life Arena, Darren. They love to win in front of all those heroes that are going to be honored out at halftime in the Legends game. And if they do that, and if Vanderbilt beats A&M, Vanderbilt's going to slide into the top 75. That will give Carolina another quad 1 and another quad 2 win. And if Carolina can beat LSU, it'll give them another quad 1 win. All of a sudden, they'll have 3 quad 1 victories in one day.
It'll be the best win of the year for South Carolina. And
no doubt.
And it won't be close. It will blow away anything else that they've accomplished to this point if they can pull this off. The return of Pinson's been large. And with that, step for step in the last 3 games, Eason has been virtually unstoppable. 20 points in the last 3 games. He's got 4, 5, 6, something like that, double-doubles throughout the year. The front court for LSU is as much of a problem as their pressure defense is going to be. I don't like this matchup for South Carolina at all.
Generally, when you say that, it works out. So Gamecocks probably going to win tomorrow.
I've been on them the last couple times. I've had it pretty good.
All right, real quick before we run the break here, 6th ranked Kansas is at West Virginia tomorrow night in Morgantown, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Careful.
Missed that one. Georgetown?
6th ranked Kansas at West Virginia tomorrow night, 8 o'clock ESPN.
Like, no one should be careful with Georgetown.
Need to be careful there if you're the Jayhawks.
Yeah, definitely careful there.
All right, 12:59, time for a timeout. When we return, Grayson Greiner is in the big leagues. We got a big leaguer coming up next, and Matt Campbell will follow as we continue to celebrate the opening day of college baseball right here on the JB and Goldwater Show. Right here in our backyard is Motley Rice LLC, a law firm that hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for South Carolinians who were injured while traveling by plane or bus, harmed by medical drugs and devices, or burdened by dangerous auto recalls, including Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. We are honored to have Motley Rice as a sponsor for the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risked their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Clamagore, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work, and two others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the Links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Lowcountry. Our back nine is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit stonoferrygolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The Links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf teams. Come see us. We would love to have you. stonoferrygolf.com.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm Chris Half, Public Information Officer at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. We're home of the mighty USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, Clamagore, and Vietnam experience. And we're a proud partner of the JB and Goldwater Show. We invite you and your family to come see us and enjoy a day on Charleston Harbor. Visit patriotspoint.org for more information. And now, it is my honor to present the National Anthem.
Live, loud, and online.
Final hour on this Friday afternoon, and it's turning into a beauty. Welcome back to the JB and Goldwater Show. Very proudly presented by Motley Rice, opening day of the 2022 college baseball season. We celebrate it. We hope you will. For those that aren't big baseball fans, try it. Take your kids to a game. Take your son, take your daughter. Go watch Carolina, Clemson, the Citadel, College of Charleston, wherever you are. Wofford, Newberry, anybody that's going to be playing a game, go to the ballpark. It's a lot of fun. And you got so many opportunities to do it over the next few months as the season approaches. Thanks to Blake Cooper and Drew Meyer for for joining us in hour number 1. Matt Campbell coming up here in just a little while. Follow us on social media at JB and Goldwater, individually at Sports Media JB, and at Darren Goldwater. And make sure, no matter what you've done, do what Grayson Greiner, I know, has done. Download the all-new JB and Goldwater app, because he would never lie to us. He will tell us that he's already done that. And he is kind enough to join us now, the former Gamecocks catcher. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy opening day. I have not downloaded it. I will. You were right. I will not lie to you, but I will download it.
We appreciate the honesty, but I mean,
yeah,
we can do better.
Yeah. I mean, don't let it get in the way of any. Don't let it get in the way of anything. Like, if you're in the locker room, sometime in May or June, you're in Chicago or somewhere, don't get your manager upset with you just because you're in there. You're trying to catch the last couple of minutes of our program and y'all got to go. Don't.
That's right. Yeah. I won't let it interfere with anything, but I'll definitely get it on the phone here. So.
All right. So Grayson, first of all, before we get to big league life, how is family life?
It's good, man. Family's getting ready right now to make the little drive downtown and go see my first. Actually, I think it's my second Carolina game since I played there. But first opening day. The circumstances, obviously, with the lockout are fortunately and unfortunately allowing us to go do this as a family. But it's exciting. My oldest boy, who just turned 4, is really excited. He loves everything South Carolina. Trying to raise him the right way, but we're excited to get down there and hopefully watch us start the season 1-0.
I sure hope so. You're only your second time. So, describe that. This is going to be your second time sitting in the stands. I'm assuming here that either Coach Tanner or Coach Kingston has kind of hooked you up with some tickets, right?
Yeah, we're hooked up. We got hooked up pretty good for the game today, so we'll have some primo seats, but
okay.
It's going to be different. Not being on the field, but just being a spectator and enjoying baseball. It's a great game to watch. I can't even. I mean, like I said, it's my second time at a Carolina game, but I don't think I've just sat and watched a game in the stands ever, really, as long as I can remember, really.
It's amazing.
It's a different vantage point. Just sitting and relaxing, catching up with a lot of my old teammates. I know there's probably, 15, 20, 25 guys coming into town just for this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. My dad's getting honored at Legends Weekend for basketball tomorrow, so we're going to take the family down to Colonial Life tomorrow and check that out. So it'll be a great weekend for Gamecock athletics and just being a spectator and having fun.
I'll have to shoot you a text. We're coming up for the game tomorrow too. I'm gonna bring my daughters to their first ever
nice.
Carolina basketball game. So,
nice.
Yeah,
big
dude.
One.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. So the Greiner family's gonna be right in the thick of it. What do you watch? I mean, you're a catcher, and you and I can probably talk a lot of the same lingo. You're a big league catcher though, so it's a little bit different. But I know when I go watch baseball games, I just try to enjoy it, Grayson. But you always are paying attention a little bit to the guy behind the plate and what he does well and what he doesn't do well, and you just kind of keep those comments to yourself and move on. Do you do that? Like, what do you watch?
I mean, since I was really young, I've always heard the catchers, we want to be like umpires. We don't really want to be noticed. If you notice a catcher, that's really not a good thing. I mean,
that's
right. Get to the backstop a lot.
Yeah.
But as far as me, I'm going to be watching, pitch calling, pitch selection. Even though it's a little different at the college level, usually the pitching coach calls pitches, but I'm still watch how the pitcher and catcher set batters up, how they're attacking them. I know we have Sanders kid on the mound today, and I know he has a power fastball, so I'm interested to see if he's going to lean on the power fastball and make the other team prove that they can hit it before he tries to go to something else. It's kind of the approach I would take. You got a Friday night SEC guy that throws mid to upper 90s. Make the other team prove they can hit it before you try going to something else. You don't want to speed the other team's bat up. So I'm gonna try not to get too deep in what I'm thinking and try and just enjoy the game and watch the game. But as a catcher, our vantage point is so cool because it's the only position where 8 other guys are looking at you. So our vantage point, we're looking out at 8 other guys the whole time. And I think our seats are in a really good spot where I can kind of see what the catcher's seeing and there's a lot that goes on behind the plate that we have to think about in a really short amount of time. So, like I said, I'm gonna try not to get too deep into making it a game like for me while I'm just watching. I'm just gonna try and enjoy it and have fun.
Grayson Greiner at 109 on this Friday afternoon. So dig a little deeper for me, Grayson. So Colin Burgess, for instance, for the Gamecocks, and this is just a general conversation, but because you're going to the game today, I'm going to make him the example here. This is the case at the Citadel right now. This is the case over at the College of Charleston. They have veteran dudes behind the plate. And for the Gamecocks specifically, although Will Sanders will start today and Julian Bosnick in a few weeks, he should be back in the rotation, probably getting the nod on Saturdays. That they'll have definite experience there, front end, all SEC type guys. But the rest of it, there are some unknowns. They've got a lot of dudes that they lost, so they have a lot of talent. And Mark and Justin Parker, the new pitching coach, are going to try to figure out these pieces and where they go and how all that works. So with Colin Burgess returning, that's good. You got a bunch of inexperienced arms out there, but there's a guy behind the plate who can kind of guide you a little bit. So walk me through that. If you're a catcher, you're back when you were at Carolina, you had guys like this too. They're young, they're wet behind the ears, they don't really understand the big stage yet. How do you embrace that role, and what is that role?
I mean, I think Colin's absolutely going to have to take on more of a leadership role than he ever has before. He's been in the program for a while. He's gotten his feet wet. He knows what the SEC is all about. It's kind of time for him to take that team over behind the plate. There's never really been, any level. It's tough to make a deep run at any level if you don't have a leader behind the plate and a quality defensive catcher behind the plate. And I've watched sparingly over the years when time is allowed, and he does a great job back there defensively. He's fantastic, receiving the ball, keeping the ball in front, throwing. But I think he would probably tell you this is his third, fourth year in the program. It's time for him to kind of put this pitching staff on his back and make sure they know that they can trust him to bounce a breaking ball with an 0-2, 1-2 count with a runner on third, and know that ball's not going to get by him and allow a run. So we hit up at Carolina, me and Christian Walker and some other guys 3-4 times a week. So I see Colin in the cage, and he's a great worker, and I think he's ready to take on kind of that leadership role behind the plate. And I know the coaches and his teammates are counting on him to kind of take that role on.
What do you remember most, Grayson, about opening day?
Oh man, I have. I've been on this program before and told you guys I have a terrible memory. I don't. I don't.
Well, you remember that?
Played my first. I don't remember who we played my first opening day, or any opening day, really. I don't remember who we played. I know we won a really close game my freshman year. I think I had 3 hits my first opening day, which was cool. But I know we won. I don't remember who we played. I remember being really nervous.
Yeah,
a lot of family and friends in the stands, and I was just really nervous. I dreamed my whole life of playing at Carolina, and I just wanted to perform well.
Yeah, I mean, how would you parlay what you learned as a player, walking into opening day? If you had to talk to the team today, if you had to say something quickly to them, what would you say? I mean, they only get to do this so many times in their life. So what would you say to them?
I would say just compete. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of eyeballs on you, especially for the young freshmen that they've never really experienced before. But once that first pitch is thrown, just compete, do what got you to that point. Soak in the atmosphere during the national anthem and all that. Watch my first pitch. I'm going to try and throw a strike. I think I got the first pitch today.
Oh, do you really?
Enjoy the moment, and yeah, I think so.
You don't know?
As far as I know.
Like
I do know, but I received a confirmation earlier this afternoon, so I'm 99% sure I got the first pitch. But
all right,
just enjoy the atmosphere, and once the first pitch is thrown, just go back to what got you to that point and compete with your teammates. There's nothing more fun than competing with your teammates, and just do your job. Don't try and do too much. I know there's some pretty highly recruited freshmen that we got in the starting lineup that are going to feel a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations. It's hard to drown those out in the moment, but do your best to just slow your heart rate and play baseball.
So let's see. We got some breaking news. Grayson Greiner throwing out the first pitch today at South Carolina.
99% sure. I just tweeted it out.
Yeah.
Breaking. 99% sure.
No,
He's 90
tweeting it out.
No,
Too late.
He's 99%. And then I from what I understand, also I think Wando's Connor Sino is going to be in the lineup today for Mark Kingston. So excited to see him play a right-handed bat. I think he's going to be in there as a DH, Grayson. Well, you mentioned that you and Christian and a few other guys had been up at the facility swinging the sticks, trying to get ready for the season. You're in the middle of a lockout. We're going to get to the lockout in just a minute and what your next step is in your career. But how has that been, seeing guys who you have played with or crossed over with? Some of the better, obviously, if they're playing in the big leagues now, they're some of the better players to ever come through the program. But what's it like in the preseason when all of you are kind of gearing up together and you're commingling with the current squad and you're getting ready at some point in time to go off to the big leagues? Kind of describe what you've been doing up there.
Yeah, it's cool. Obviously, I'm 7-8 years removed from Carolina, so I didn't play with any of the guys, but they're always around in the cage. And, when we go out on the field and do some defensive work, Coach Kingston's great about allowing us to use the facilities before they start their official practices and everything. But, they a lot of the younger guys are very receptive and have some questions. I have a lot of questions for Christian because he's a much better hitter than I am. He's incredible. But just watching him hit and getting to work with Christian, Madison Stokes is up there, some guys in pro ball, and we got a bunch of pitchers that I catch a couple times a week. Tyler Webb, Cody Morris, TJ Shook. A lot of guys are living in the Columbia area because we have some access to those facilities to us to get ready for the season. But just trying to get ready, keep our bodies in shape, fine tune a couple things offensively, defensively, just normal routine, trying to get ready for the season. Not normally here this time of year, which is a little different. Just trying to wait to see when we can get this thing started and go off for another season.
Yeah. And it sounds to me, before I ask you that question, it sounds to me like Coach Kingston really enjoys all of y'all being around the program. It's great for his guys to have dudes like you up there day in and day out. It sounds like he's very welcoming to the former Gamecocks.
Yeah, he's been great with us. As a player myself, I try not to get in the way. The main thing I don't want to do is get in the way of what they're trying to do. If I was a player there and a pro guy came back and was, taking up my cage or taking swing, I wouldn't necessarily enjoy that. So we try and get our work done in the morning, and there's a lot of guys get in there doing some early work or doing some one-on-one time. But I think it's a valuable thing for a college player to have a guy like Christian Walker that they can ask questions. I've had Jalen Vasquez ask me, about some mechanics in his swing, and it's just cool to be able to bounce ideas off one each other. No matter if you're a 30-year-old pro guy or 18-year-old kid going to his first season in the SEC, it's just cool to be able to be a part of that Carolina baseball fraternity and know that you can ask any question.
Grayson Greiner. All right, what are you hearing, Grayson? Are you hearing anything on the lockout, and how has that affected you in your next move in the big leagues?
It sounded like yesterday there was a little more positivity coming from the media. That's really how we get our news, is from whether it be social media and or whether it be the email from the Player Association that lays out how the meeting went. But it sounded like yesterday was a little more positive, and I think I heard there's a deadline by February 28th. If they don't get a deal done, that's when regular season games start getting lost. So as far as anything finite, I haven't heard anything, but definitely stressful. I got non-tendered by the Tigers, so since I finished the season on a 40-man roster, I'm not allowed to talk to any teams until the lockout's over.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just in wait-and-see mode. The second that deal gets signed, I'm hoping I can get on the phone with some teams, or my agent get on the phone with some teams and try and find a new home, and excited about another baseball season. I want to play this game as long as people want me to play for them. So I'm just going to try and do my best and see where the season takes me.
Yeah, and you're not the only one in that boat. There are so many guys who don't know what's next. I mean, shoot, in
Right.
our area, as you know, Grayson, probably one of the biggest names that is being discussed. I mean, I had somebody asked the other day, so are the Braves going to re-sign Freddie Freeman? I'm like, well, I'm sure they are, but they can't even talk to him right now. I mean, it's
Right.
what do you hear, and just from your peers? I mean, guys who maybe might are in somewhat of a similar situation. Is there worry out there? Is there concern? Is it just kind of, hey, whatever happens, happens? I mean, what are people saying, the players?
I wouldn't say so much like concern about whether there's going to be a season or not. It's just more anxiety about, we're not used to being home this time of year. We're used to being at our spring training facility and getting ready for the season. It's just baseball players are creatures of habit. We love routines. We love starting our hitting progression, our throwing progression at the same date. We like having a routine, and this season has definitely tested that. And like I said, I don't think it's so much a worrisome about, are we going to miss the entire 2022 season? I don't think that's the case. I think it's just more, there's probably hundreds of guys in my situation that don't have jobs right now that right when that deal is signed, it's going to be kind of like the wild, wild west out there. You just kind of try and latch onto a team and get a job. There's a lot of guys like myself that are unemployed right now and just want to play baseball. So it's just a completely different situation than any of us have ever been in. But as a player and as a member of the Players Association, I think it's important to try and get this deal right, because it's going to impact not necessarily myself, but future generations of baseball players. And you want to leave the game in a good situation when you're done playing.
That is so well said. You sound like a veteran. Have you been playing for a while?
My body makes me feel like I've been playing for about 40 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Grayson, we're final question here, and then we will let you run. Obviously, we're always in your corner and supporting you. Can't wait to find out where you land. We just had a comment in the Share Healthcare chat lines. They hope to see you in the Braves uniform, and I do. It looks like the DH is going to become universal. How do you think that's going to affect baseball? And I'm what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you from a game to game standpoint. I get that you're going to hit a DH instead of a pitcher. I'm asking about the backside of it. I mean, you got a guy like somebody I've known a long time, Justin Smoke, who's getting up there in his career. But he can do some different things. I mean, all of a sudden instead of having value to maybe 15 teams or 16 teams, he might have some real value to 30 teams. So how is this going to change how players sign, how organizations make out their rosters and things like that, at least in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to change. I mean, instead of, National League teams in the past, instead of having a fringe AAA big league guy like a utility infielder type as your fourth, fifth man on the bench who you can pay league minimum, now you gotta sign a guy for $15-20 million that can hit you 35 homers and drive in 100. So it's going to add more money into the player pool, which is something that I know the Player Association has been pushing for. But as far as like a game strategy side of it, it's going to change. The NL, I feel like, just playing in a couple interleague series over the last couple of years, it's so much harder, I feel like, to manage in the NL, because you got double switches. You got to figure out if it's worth it to keep your pitcher out there for one more inning or to bring in a pinch hitter in a really important situation on offense. So in the AL, it's a lot different. You can just run through that lineup 4 times and not have to make a whole lot of changes offensively. You're just bringing in new pitchers. So it's going to make a big difference. And like you said, I think it's going to allow a lot of guys to play deeper into their careers, play into their late 30s. Guys like Nelson Cruz that can just smash the baseball no matter how old they get. It's just going to change the game a lot. But at the same time, I think it could be a positive for the game, just fan wise. I know a lot of people are concerned about the fan experience. I don't think many fans want to sit there and watch the pitcher take 3 fastballs right down the middle and pitch it out. I think it adds a lot more entertainment to the game when you got a guy that's 6'5", 260 that can hit the ball 500 feet instead of a pitcher that's just going to take 3 fastballs down the middle. So there's a lot of moving parts and variables that go into it, but there's good and bad, whichever way you look at it.
Wait, did you just give yourself an extra 40 pounds? Because you ain't 260. You're 6'5",
Not
but you're
me.
not
I'm not. If you've ever seen my offensive stats, you know I'm not a DH.
Hey, that's funny. Well, you might be moving forward. You might get signed somewhere in the National League, and you catch 4 or 5 games a week, DH a couple games a week, and you know how it is in the big leagues these days, Grayson. You hit 230, but you hit 20 home runs, you sign a big deal, man. They pay you to hit the long ball anymore.
Crazy game, man. Crazy game.
There's guys like Whit Merrifield who are publicly, they're like, hey, look, wait, what about guys like me? Hey, I hit about 300 and no one's even paying attention. Look,
Whit's incredible.
He is something. He has turned into some kind of big leaguer. It is unbelievable to watch him swing it. Unbelievable. Yeah. All the best to you. We'll keep up with you because I'm anxious to see where you signed. I'll shoot you a text tomorrow when I'm in town, and if we get a chance to cross paths, then I'll bring my little girls by and and we'll say hello. And
we'll be up there. I got the whole family up there.
Nice. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Gamecocks only have 54 games on the schedule this year in baseball, Grayson. Do they go undefeated?
Can't go undefeated unless you go 0-1.
1-0.
No,
1-0.
No, 1-0.
Can't do that either. No.
Yeah,
well, if they get to 1-0 today, we'll start to predict towards that 54-0 mark. That, by the way, would be a record for anybody asking.
Yeah.
Hey man, go get them. Enjoy the ball game today. Best to you and your wife and your young children. Thank you so much.
Throw a strike.
Thanks for having me on.
Throw a strike. Yeah, there you go. Throw a strike.
Yeah, I'll try.
All right. See ya. There you go. Grayson Greiner, catcher, former catcher, big league catcher now. No longer more than likely the Tigers organization, but certainly somewhere. All right, and finally, our final guest of the afternoon. Again, it is opening day, and we will continue to celebrate the opening of college baseball in this program. If nobody else out there is willing to do it, that's how much we love it in this state. So our fourth and final guest of the afternoon, just because he's last doesn't mean he's last. We'll just say that. He is an All-American, a former All-American left-hander in the Gamecocks organization, Matt Campbell. And do we have Matt yet?
We will have him shortly.
Okay. All right. He texted me. He texted me because I was a little late getting to him. We didn't forget about him. But certainly thanks to Blake Cooper, Drew Meyer, and Grayson Greiner for popping in today. And this guy goes as Soup. You don't really need to know his first name or his last name. Just call him Soup. He'll answer. But it is Matt Campbell. What's up, man?
How's it going? I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up those three guys.
Well, I know this. I know for sure one of them, Blake. But I bet you your breaking ball could have struck out those other two. Actually, I know it struck out one of them.
I don't know. Those some pretty good ball players right there.
Yeah. Well, in inter squads, who got the best of who? Did you get the best of Drew, or did he get the best of you?
I don't know. Drew probably got the best of us probably more times than not. He was a tough out.
See, because y'all crossed over in 2002, so you would have been a freshman and he was a junior, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Well, maybe he got you. All right, let's go back and let's rehash this. All right, so that 2002 season, you get to Omaha. By the way, again, for anybody that hears the voice, and it's Matt Campbell, literally the best breaking ball I've ever seen, one of the best arms ever, former first-round draft pick, et cetera, et cetera. So that team had you, Drew, Yaron,
yeah. Mark Stanks, Bondurant,
Bondo, Malillo, Dyson.
Malillo, Harris,
God,
Blake Taylor led the nation in saves that year.
Yep. What was that? Stop there. What was that? What was that like for you? Because you were a starter. So when you knew you had Blake Taylor in the back end of the bullpen, I mean, like what went through your mind? Just get a lead and get out of here, and he'll solve the rest of the riddle.
Gosh, I mean, it was, hey, let's get us to the last 3 innings here, and this thing is under wraps. We were actually fortunate for the 3 years that I was there that we had a really good back end bullpen. But yeah, Blake Taylor, obviously one of the best that we had come through there. I mean, we knew once we put the ball in his hands, the game was pretty much over. We also had Blackwell that came in a couple years later that I want to say led the nation in saves right after that. So yes, it was just get to 6, 7 innings and let's go ahead and get this W.
When you first got to South Carolina, Soup, what did you, in your mind, think that you were walking into? Because the 2000 team, everybody knows the story. I mean, they lost 6 games all year and fell short of Omaha. And the 2001 team, I think it was the backup catcher. I can't remember his name now, but he hits a deep fly ball out at Stanford at Sunken Diamond. They catch it on the warning track. Season ends again in the Super Regional. And then, so here's 02. And everybody knows about everybody. I mean, you're coming in. I mean, there's just talent galore. But people are like, what do we need to do to get to Omaha? This team has been so good the last 2 years. They haven't gotten there. So what did you think you were walking into?
To be honest with you, I really had no idea. I mean, I was a freshman coming out of high school, obviously, where you're one of the better players on your team. High school was a little bit easier, and then all of a sudden you get to college, and it was you're playing with the best of the best. And playing, honestly, with the Diamond Devils kind of helped prepare me for that because I got to play with a lot of those guys like Drew before and some other guys that went on to Clemson and in the pros like Steven Jackson here locally. So I got to play with some of those better players, but you really have no idea until you get in there and get into the thick of it. And it was tough. I mean, it was definitely an adjustment where, everybody's good. You're playing against everybody's best player. And then, you get to the SEC and that's a whole nother ball game. So I was just young and naive and didn't really understand really until we got into it. And to look back on those 3 years and us going to the World Series, those 3 years, man, we were really lucky because that's hard to do. I mean, we see that now. And I just think it boils down to having great leadership, great teammates. Everybody kind of bought in and we were hot at the right time.
Matt Campbell, former All-American at the University of South Carolina, first-round draft pick of the Kansas City Royals, if I remember correctly. Right? That's right.
I got his card.
Yeah,
I got his
right.
card up here on the graphic.
Yeah.
I mean, you look like a baby.
I was about to say, wait a second.
Oh, yeah.
That card, he looks like he's in high school, not college.
Yeah. Well, it was, 20, 21 years ago? It's been a while.
That's true.
I got a few more gray hair since then.
Just a few. But I know why. I know why. I know who your in-laws are, and I know who your wife is. So the gray hair was bound to hit you sooner than later.
Yes, 3 kids later. That's right.
But again, I want to go back to 02 with you, Soup, because when did you start to figure out, like, all right, we're pretty good, and we're going to have a real crack at this thing this year? I mean, for anybody that doesn't remember, that was the Miami Miracle season in 02 with Sarge. But was there like a button that was pushed or a flip that a switch that was flipped where it kind of clicked all of a sudden, like, yeah, we're pretty dang good. We got a real shot to get all the way here?
For me, not really. I think, and this is a testament to our leadership, Drew and Dyson and Melillo and those guys, like they never really let us get, 2 up or 2 down. They just did a great job for somebody like me who was younger that, hey, this is like everyday business for us. We're going to go out there. We're going to win. We're going to have fun. And I mean, they had been successful, obviously, the prior years leading up to that. So to me, it just felt normal. It's kind of like we knew how to win. We never felt like we were out of it. And to be honest with you, right before that Miami game, when we were down however many runs right before we went on that tear there at the end, it kind of flapped in the face a little bit, saying, holy cow, this season could be over. And it really didn't sink in until that moment, like what just happened. And all of a sudden, of course we came back and won and kind of got the monkey off our back and getting back to the World Series. And when we got there, it's kind of like, okay, hey, yeah, maybe we are good. And then of course you get punched in the mouth by Georgia Tech that first game. I think we lost 11-0. We're like, okay, maybe we're not so good. And then we kind of had to go back to that old mentality of hey guys, we're not out of it. And of course we went on another run there, but we were a really good team. And again, I think it comes back to the leadership of the upperclassmen there that just kind of kept things relaxed for us.
Yeah, that to kind of piggyback on that statement there, Soup, Georgia Tech beat the brakes off of y'all. What was the kid's name that pitched in that game for Georgia Tech? Do you remember? Was it no?
It was like Baker.
Baker.
I want to say like Jared Baker, because there was a Jeff Baker at Clemson at the time. I want to say his name was Jared for Georgia Tech. He was like a 7-foot righty.
Yeah, he was enormous. And because I think Jason Windsor was a couple years later, right, out at Fullerton.
Yeah, okay. For Cal State Fullerton.
He's the kid that had the braces, I believe. I always get those guys confused. But, yeah, he shoved it up your butts, that's for sure. And then you had to turn around and play Nebraska. And they're the hometown team. So you mentioned the leadership, Drew and Dyson and those guys, and just kind of how they were in the locker room. How much, looking back on it, how much did you need those guys? Getting throttled by 11 runs, and then you got to play the hometown Huskers basically, essentially in their own ballpark in Omaha. Every bit of pressure is on you, and your own hits a home run, and you go out and beat them 10-8 that night.
Yeah, I mean, just, staying in the moment, not letting the moment be too big. And I think as a freshman, I can remember Garrett Scott was somebody, I can't believe we left his name off of that leadership. But he pulled me aside very early on that year and said, hey, we're going to need you. Like, I need you to be focused, that kind of stuff. And that really made me feel a part of that team and like, okay, hey, I do belong here. And, again, like that leadership, it was, hey, if something bad happened, just bury it. Again, stay in the moment and not let something negative like that bring you down. Always positive. Like, we were always joking around with each other about how quote unquote bad we were. Like, we're a bad team, but we obviously we really weren't. But they never took themselves too seriously. And I think that helped. That helped to stay relaxed. And obviously that paid dividends for us. Unfortunately, we came up one game short, but we did make it pretty far.
Yeah, you did, but it's okay. I mean, it's crazy. This is the 20th anniversary of this team, and but this team, although in the 70s, as you know, Coach Richardson took the Gamecocks to Omaha so many times. They were runners-up, Soup, in 75, I think, and in 77. And we know what the proud history of Gamecock baseball was. This is the 20th anniversary of the team that reset the expectations in the program. The 2002 team broke through, and from that day forward, the expectation was to be there every year, and it still is now, and they haven't been there in 10 years. So Gamecock fans are like, hey, it's time to get back. And so when you go back to that moment in time when y'all played there, you beat Nebraska, and then you got to turn around and beat Georgia Tech again, and then there it is. There's the Tigers. They're waiting, and Clemson was a favorite because they were 2-0, and that night Blake Taylor got the start, and then I think Gary came in, Gary Bell, for those that don't remember, and then it was you. And you were beyond special. 5 1/3, struck him out 8 times, only gave up 2 hits, literally shoved it right up their rear ends as far as you could shove it. And they had the best middle of the lineup in America with Johnson and Green and Baker and those guys. And you were unhittable. You were unhittable. What do you remember about that game?
I think I blacked out. It was one of those moments where, you're in the game so quick as a reliever. It's one of those, hey, Campbell, get down there and get warmed up, and you're just trying to go as fast as you can, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into this situation against your rival on, the the greatest stage in college baseball. It just all happened so fast. And you know, early on, I mean, whether as a hitter or a pitcher, whether or not you got your stuff. And it was maybe that after I got out of a jam, I want to say that first or second inning that I was in there, that I knew I had my stuff. And I want to say I came off the mound one time and Leggett just happened to be walking in front of me. And I was like, no more, that you're not getting any more of this game. And I knew that was it. And was just plugged in. And next thing you know, there's a camera in your face, you know, at the end of the game after you've won. And, you know, they're asking you questions. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Definitely fun to reminisce and relive those stories. I wish I could go back and do it all over.
Well, and when you came in the game, you know, that was Soup. I think you came in the fourth inning, right? To relieve Gary, if I remember correctly. And you know, it was. I think y'all were. I think it was tied. Wasn't it 4-4 or something?
It was a close game. We may have been down by a run, and maybe we tied it up after we came in from that half inning, and then I just remember getting the lead and again what was on. And I think I faced Khalil in that middle of the lineup a couple times, and I want to say Khalil hit one. It should have been an out, honestly, because Harris caught it off the top of the wall and it bounced up and came into his glove, and they gave him a ground rule double. So that was one of the hits. But golly, that guy was so hard to get out. I mean, and even Michael Johnson, that was a tough team. But you know, luckily I was on. We played great defense and got some timely hitting and came away with the win.
Matt Campbell, 1:41 here on this Friday afternoon as we celebrate opening day, looking back on a lot of what changed our expectations today for Carolina baseball, which was the 2002 run in the College World Series, ultimately falling to Texas. Well, good news, Soup. Texas is going to not only come to Founders Park for a 3-game series this year, they're also going to come down here and take on Coach Holbrook's Cougars and Tony Scholl's Citadel Bulldogs. So do you have any oomph left inside of you to go pull against those pesky Longhorns who eliminated you from a ring?
Absolutely, yeah. Which I'm actually looking forward to getting back to Columbia for that weekend. We're going to do a little reunion up there with everybody. I don't know if Drew mentioned that earlier, but it's going to be good to see some familiar old faces that, you know, with all of our busy lives these days, we haven't been able to get together. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some of those guys again.
Well, I saw Gauntz last year at the regional. His arms are not any smaller than they were in college. They're actually bigger, I think.
He looks like he could still get out there and hit it about 400 or 500 feet.
Oh, I mean, he just, like, when you think about that era, right? Because you don't see this anymore in college baseball, guys. Like, if you go out and watch a game today, I love the game as much as anybody in the world. Darren, you love the game. Soup, I know how much you love it. But come on, dude. You don't see lineups that you used to see back then. Those LSU lineups, those Carolina lineups, these guys, they would walk up to the plate and you're like, what is that?
Yeah, it was. I mean, hey, in my freshman year, I want to say I weighed $145. You know, and you're pitching against some of those monsters. I'm like, what in the world? Like, this isn't even fair.
Yeah, dude, those guys were enormous. I mean, y'all had a lot of them. I mean, your own and Garris and guys of that nature. But I mean, it was widespread in college baseball. These were robots, and they could hit it as far as anybody that you've ever seen hit the baseball. And it was very scary. Have you talked to Coach Tanner?
I have not recently. He's got a busy schedule. He probably don't have a whole lot of time for me these days. But I've run into him a few times and had some great conversations with him, but not recently.
Well, you know, it's just I haven't talked to him either. I know people that have, but you know, and as you mentioned, he's just got so much going on. Just out of curiosity, when you do talk to Coach Tanner, is anything ever different from when you played for him?
No, not really. I mean, it may be a little bit more relaxed than what it was. I want to say in those days when I was playing for him, we had to be at the front of the classroom, you know, no hat, shirt tucked in, collared shirt, very, very strict and hardcore. But I heard he's loosened up
Oh yeah.
Over the years, and now when I see him, we get to kind of joke about the past and tell some old stories. But yeah, I hear you doing great.
Yeah, I remember when Roth told the story, whenever that was, Soup, sometime after they won the first national championship in 2010, that he had gone to Rete and basically said, Coach, hey, look, guys want to grow their beards out a little bit, kind of want to grow some hair. You need to lighten up. You need to loosen up. Would you have ever had the whats to walk into Coach Tanner's office at the Sarge and say, hey, Coach, we'd like to grow our beards out. We don't really like your rule.
Absolutely not. Probably not until my junior year that I figure out that you got to go in there and challenge them, and he liked that. I think he wanted us to see, or he wanted us to kind of grow up and challenge and come to him with some ideas. But he also liked intimidating guys. He liked to intimidate the pitchers and the younger guys. I mean, it was part of his test to see if you're going to be able to handle the tough times. And I didn't start to realize that until, probably my junior year. But, yeah, no, Roth has some nuts to get up there and ask him that kind of stuff. Cause I sure as heck wasn't doing that.
No, we pretty much know all the same guys. And, there's only like a handful of guys that I can even think of. Drew is one of them. Smoke is one of them. Roth. There's only a couple.
Look at those guys. I mean, you got Drew, obviously first round pick, probably one of the best shortstops to come out of there, state of South Carolina, and Smoke, obviously another stud player. Hey, I was just a little old, junk ball lefty pitcher, which he hated pitchers, by the way.
Yeah.
So I did not have the nuts to get up there and do it. And I'm proud of Ross. That was good.
What's the worst that Coach Tanner just blessed you into next week? Because I know it wasn't Coach Myers. Coach Myers would keep his hat down, kind of tilt his head, right, and kind of just talk you through it. Coach Tanner, if he had something to say, he would just say it.
Oh gosh, it's probably not suitable for this call, but
yeah,
he got me a few times. I did some knucklehead stuff back when I was younger, if you can believe that. But
no, you didn't.
Whether it was some off the field stuff or I think one time he put me in against Florida, and I threw one pitch against some guy hitting 600, I think at the time. Obviously didn't get him out, and he pulls me off the mound. And how many times have I put you in to get a lefty out? I'm like, I don't know, a lot. And he's like, how many times you got him out? Well, Coach, probably not that many times. This is my freshman year. He's like, I don't know if you're ever going to pitch here again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to move. Like, what are we doing? And luckily got some stuff figured out, and the rest is history. But yeah, I've caught a tongue lashing from him a few times.
Soup, how many guys do you think? This is probably the 50th time I've heard not this story, but like the same story. How many guys has he told? You're never going to play here again. You're never going to pitch here again. I mean, it's happened to everybody.
We've heard it on here multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Well, over my career, I heard it multiple times. I can specifically remember a time at LSU where I had a bad outing and I was struggling, and we had a conversation. And the way he does it is, you're all on a bus on the way back, and when you get back into Columbia, he's like, "All right, everybody off the bus," and then there's like a second, and he goes, "Campbell, you need to stay." I'm like, "Oh, geez." So you sit on the bus with him, and that's when you get I just don't know. Like, maybe I thought you were better than what you are. You're not very good right now. I don't know if you're ever going to play again. I'm like, golly, he's testing you. It's but I definitely heard it on more than one occasion.
I tell you, we can share stories like this literally all day, and a lot of. I would say, and I'd have to get J-Rat to tell it better than me, Soup, and you probably know it, but before he transferred to East Carolina, let's see, I think it was the trip to Auburn. It was, and he coached. You know how Coach Tanner does it. It's kind of spur of the moment. Hey, grab a bat, and he wanted him to go in there and hit a home run, of course. And So he gets on deck and he goes in there and he swings at 2 breaking balls in the dirt that landed about 3 feet in front of home plate. And the third pitch that's thrown to him is right down the middle, and he didn't even take his bat off his shoulders, and he walks into the dugout after strike 3. And Coach Tanner looked at him and said, J-Rat, I'm not even mad at you. I want to kick my own ass for recruiting you to play at South Carolina.
Yeah. Well, you know, he doesn't. I mean, and as a pitcher, you're sitting there on the bench, you know, if you're coming out of the bullpen or whatever, and you know, all of a sudden, you know, if there's a walk and then a double or a hit or whatever, he's like, Campbell, go get ready, and you're sprinting, you're trying to get a catcher, you know, you're trying to get all your stuff together to get down the bullpen, and you've thrown 3 or 4 warm-up throws. Like, the catcher's not even down yet. I don't even know if the catcher's got his mask or anything on. You're probably throwing with another pitcher, and he's already radioing down there going, hey, you ready? You got next batter. And I hadn't even thrown anything off the mound yet, but what do you say? You're like, oh, yeah, I'm ready, I'm good. So next thing you know, you're thrown in the game. It's like, okay, I'm going to get my warm-up pitches on the mound here real quick. And I don't know, sometimes that worked out better for me than being too ready and overthinking the situation. But I want to tell them, hey, man, give me a little bit more time.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that, because you'll get plenty more time in the dugout sitting next to him.
Yeah,
Soup, or not next to him, but away from him, somewhere away from him. Final one for you here, as it is opening day. I know you're excited to get out and watch plenty of baseball this spring, and I tell you, I mean, you know me, I can't wait to get my little girls out there everywhere. We're going to go to the Citadel and the college in South Carolina. But what do you, as Matt Campbell, you know, you were such an integral part of Gamecock baseball, such a star, but you were just a college baseball player too. You know, what do you miss when this time of the year? I know what I miss. What do you miss when this day comes and you wake up and you go, man, they're gonna be playing baseball today, and hopefully when they're done playing baseball, it's going to be out in Nebraska. What do you miss?
Just, you know, opening day, the fans, the weather, there's a smell and just an aura, you know, about opening day and getting back out there. You know, you've gone through all the off-season workouts and all the inter squad scrimmages. Like, now it's time to have fun. Like, this is what you work for, and you know it's going to be a long season, but it's just so much fun. I mean, I thought about nothing else but baseball when the season got here. Yeah, I mean, I would love to just strap it back on and just get back out there and compete. And obviously being on some really good teams there, winning. I mean, winning is fun. So, yes. You know, that was just a lot of fun those 3 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that would break up with their girlfriends and things like that when baseball season would roll around. Remember those guys? You know, I got to focus on baseball. Let me ask you this final here. Do you think that Charlotte would let you break up with her for a few months during baseball season?
Oh, can I plead the fifth on that?
Sure.
she'd break every bone in your body.
I don't know. She might want to break up with me during baseball season.
Hey, when you get off this call, walk in the house and tell Charlotte. When you walk in the house and tell Charlotte you're going to break up with her till June, but you'll still take the kids to school and stuff. But you just need some time off. You got to focus on baseball for a little while.
That's right.
And it was nice knowing you, by the way.
Yeah. And then report back.
Yeah. Let's have a follow-up call in June or July.
For those that maybe don't those that maybe don't realize this, two of the great families united years ago when Matt Campbell married Charlotte Flint, the sister of Michael and Stephen and David Flint. So I don't know how Soup has managed to get through life the way he has, I love Charlotte with all my heart, but just being a part of that chaos every day, it's I don't know how you do it, dude.
They're a great family, man. They are very fortunate and love all the support and just, you know, being around them and being a part of that family.
Yeah, you know, I say that facetiously. The Flints are second to none. It's a great group. Hey, look, Really appreciate it, man. And I mentioned to Drew earlier, this is ridiculous. We've been talking about this for literally a year. Let's go play golf. Let's go play golf. Let's go play golf. And I don't ever call you, like nobody ever, we don't ever figure this out. So, hey, let's go play golf. We'll get this thing figured out very soon.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll get you and Drew, and we got to find a fourth. Not Michael. He can drive the cart, but I'm not giving him a club. So, hey, happy opening day, brother. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks, Jamie.
Always. There you go. Matt Campbell, former left-hander and All-American at South Carolina, and first-round draft pick. For anybody that maybe can't remember that far back, and I'm being serious when I say this, Darren, and this is not at all because I've known Soup for a long time. He had the best breaking ball I've ever seen. It was, I don't even know how to explain it. It was, when you say fall off the table, oh, you know what fall off the table looks like, but it didn't even fall off the tape. Like it just, it disappeared. I mean, it was like gone.
Yeah. And the body frame, I mean, it all kind of worked hand in hand to see that thing just snap off too. I mean, you're not the only one who says that. That's he was a first round pick. There are a lot of people who thought that was a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, it was literally unbelievable. So it was great though. That was neat. Matt Campbell, Grayson Greiner, Drew Meyer, Blake Cooper, all first and foremost outstanding individuals. But second to that, they were amazing baseball players. And I know we talked a lot about South Carolina with those guys, but this is really a celebration of college baseball in general. If you live in the upstate, I hope you'll go watch Clemson because Monty Lee deserves it, and he's got a pretty good team, and I think they're going to win a lot of games. If you win in the Midlands, I hope you're going to go watch the Gamecocks, Coastal up at the beach down here, the Citadel, the Cougars, the Charleston Southern Buccaneers. If you live in Newberry, if you live in Clinton, Presbyterian, Newberry, if you want to go watch Spartanburg Methodist play, junior college, Winthrop, North Greenville, you name it, go watch baseball. It's such a pure, amazing thing. And one of the great compliments that I have ever personally gotten, Darren, and it's for both of us, has been from the coaches in this state, and Chad says it all the time, and that's why I like what we do, because he says, thanks for what you do for college baseball. And I always say, well, thanks for what you do.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's some people in this state that don't care a lot about college baseball, and we do. So we'll always be a voice for it. And I'm glad we get to celebrate it.
The thing about baseball, I mean, I grew up a baseball guy, right? There's no secret that the team that I am the most passionate about is a baseball team, right? I grew up thinking I was going to be a shortstop. I grew up, baseball was everything in this office. There are a couple things that are not baseball. Almost everything around is baseball. The people within the game make the game special. So whether, like, obviously you have personal relationships with the guys we've talked to today. But you can tell that there's a similarity between baseball guys. You can say the same thing about football guys and basketball guys and lacrosse guys and whatever, but I've just always been a part of those baseball guys. I've always been in those circles. So it's it feels like a connection there. You know, I don't know those guys that we just talked to, but it feels like in some way anyone who's been around the game for a while, there's a connection there, because for the most part, you're baseball guys, and there are good ones and bad ones, but for the most part, 95% of them are all riding down that same road. You know, just you kind of understand each other because that's the way you've thought about life for like your entire life.
Absolutely, and that was kind of what that montage was about earlier. That monologue that we played.
That was very good, by the way.
0.002, 2/1000ths of a percent. That's the number of days in your life that you're going to have opening day. That's it. If you haven't heard it, I've retweeted it, and we'll certainly make sure we push it out there and play it for whoever you would like. Again, thanks to Soup, Grayson Greiner, Drew Meyer, and Blake Cooper. It's going to be an amazing weekend of basketball, and really looking forward to that. Legends Weekend in Columbia tomorrow obviously has my attention, but nationally, there is a lot of stuff to look forward to. Keep up with Darren on social media. He's all over the hoop stuff. So it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful weekend there. Also out in California is where the the
Genesis.
Genesis is being played at Riviera, and Joaquin Neiman is ahead at 14 under par. So we're going to keep our eyes on that. It is also this day, by the way, of the unbelievably horrific crash for Dale Earnhardt. So something to remember here on February the 18th.
That's right. I remember seeing that in the Las Vegas airport. It was the first live NASCAR I had ever seen. That's what I saw.
Oh,
yep.
Wow. Go Team USA in the Olympics. Thanks for an amazing week. Wow. I mean, man, look how much fun we had. We had a blast. Thanks to Shane Beamer and Derek Scott and all these people that joined us all week long. Have a wonderful weekend. Go watch the baseball. Scott Wingo joins us Monday. It's going to get even better. We'll see you then.